there's this book in the prison, in the garbage can in the dormitory. There's this book sitting on top of a garbage can. There's a pile of garbage in the garbage can already, but there's a book sitting on top of the pile of garbage that's piled in the garbage can. The name of this book is called We're All Doing Time. It's about the Yoga Ashram Prison Project, right? And I said, what's the odds of a book being on top of the garbage can place like this? Let me grab this and see what's in it. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, was I surprised. I picked this book up and I read about these invisible lights that live inside of our body called chakras. The word chakra translated is a wheel of light or a circle of light or a sphere of light. And I'm like, if what he's saying in this book is true, I should be able to prove him right. I go in my brain, I'm laying in my bed and I'm saying, okay, if these things are real, show me you're real, right? And I'm trying all type of stuff. I'm like saying, turn on, chakras turn on, and chakras this, and if you're alive, then speak to me. Like, I'm trying to talk to the chakras as if they're another guy, like I'm trying to pray to Jesus or something, right? And so, this inner still voice is like, telling me like the chakras are you. You are the chakras. You can't call out to them as if they're separate from you. And so I said, well, if they're me, then I should be able to just tell me to turn on. So I was trying all kind of different phrases, and then I finally landed on a golden phrase, and that golden phrase was activate. Well, activate.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who's out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode. Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is the CHAKRA Doctor. More about that in a second. First, I'd like to invite you to visit my website, theexplodinghuman.com. Over there, you can listen to the episodes, read synopses, see photos of my guests, a little bio on myself. And there's a donate button if you'd like to support the show. That would be fantastic. That will also give you access to some extra content. There's also a YouTube channel you can listen to the episodes, which is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman, add with Bob Nickman. And there is an Exploding Human Facebook page. As I said, my guest today is the CHAKRA Doctor. His name is Rance Dunbar, and his story is one of incredible transformation. He came from a situation of poverty and abuse, drugs, eventually prison, and he has transformed himself through studying meditation, the chakras, invented his own type of yoga, and now has created an eco-village in Texas, which he's going to tell us all about, where you can go and unplug from society and tap into your inner self for a whole week. No phones, no electronics, no nothing. And he's a great guy, really fun to talk to, great sense of humor, and an amazing story. Please check it out. This is Rance Dunbar, the CHAKRA Doctor. Good morning to Mr. Rance Dunbar, the CHAKRA Doctor. How are you?
I'm doing swell, well, and great, sir. How are you, Bob?
I am good, man. Where are you, by the way? What city are you in?
I'm in Kennedale, Texas.
Okay.
Got me a piece of land in Kennedale, Texas, and turning it. It was a former eco village, and now I'm going to revamp it into a present day, modern day eco village as well, and let it be the base of my operations as a person and services as an entrepreneur.
Okay, an eco village. We'll get into that in a second. I want to talk about, because we talked a little bit before we started talking just now, about your past and where you come from, because this is a really interesting story of someone who should not be where you're at today if you were going to look at percentages of for where you came from. So let's talk about your past, how you grew up, some of the things that happened, because you're really a bit of a miracle in America, in my opinion. From just a little bit you told me, I'm like, how did he get from there to here? So let's hear about the past first.
Yeah. So the past was, everybody has a horror story, right? And my past, I like to call that a true horror story. The horror story begins at 5 and 6 years old, being abused physically from my stepfather. A kid at 5 and 6 years old receiving multiple, broken bones, from being beat by, a grown person. That can be real damaging early in life. And, watching my mom get abused as well, that started early in life. But also seeing her strive through it and tough through it and being able to get us out of the situation also taught me her strength as well as her weakness, right? And so from that, and then believe it or not, at 9 years old, this guy was a stalker. He literally, we got away from him when I was about 7 years old, and then 2 years later, we living in a whole nother neighborhood, and this guy stalks us and finds us and burns down our house. So at 9 years old, my house get burned down, and everything goes up in flames, right? And so start over from there, and then you go through these things as a child, and you're like, man, what's really going on? What did I do to deserve this? Not knowing that adults make their own decisions and children are a part of the decisions that adults make. So a lot of that had to do with my mother's decision making and the man she chose. And that man she chose was a fanatical man and decided to, make our lives a living hell. But after about 9 years old into 10 years old, that subsided and that left out of my consciousness, meaning it stopped happening. And then on, moving on into other things like, and I've always was a specially gifted kid. Like people always say, even when I was young, people used to always ask me for advice. I used to wonder why old people used to ask me for advice when I was 3, 4, and 5 years old. And my mom used to say, you have a veil upon you. You have a veil upon you. You can see things that other people can't see. You can do things that other people can't do. You don't know how to do it. You don't know how to access it all now, but you will learn how to do it later. Now, my mom used to tell me this when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And so I've always known that I was destined for something great. I just couldn't see how. Like, how can I be destined for something great when all of this non-greatness is happening to me, not realizing that all of these things have to happen in order to propel you into greatness. And so then my mom passed at 16 years old on Christmas Day. So Christmas Day, so first, hold on, so 1998, that's my mom passed, but we got to start at the beginning. In 1996, my grandma, who was like my second mom, she passed on Super Bowl Sunday. Then the year after that, I'm the only child of my mother and father. My cousin, my cousin, who was like a brother to me, he passed, right, in 1997. And then 1998 on Christmas Day, my mother passed. And then 1999 my mother's fiance died of a broken heart, right? So died in his sleep, literally of a broken heart, of a heart aneurysm in his sleep, 8 months after she passed, right? So literally, that was the proverbial straw, I would say, that broke the camel's back, in the form of me going out in life and wandering, just trying to find who I am without these key people. Those 4 deaths that I just named, those were key, unconditionally loving people in my life that I thought were going to be there forever, right? You think your mom and, these certain people are going to be there for a long time, way longer than was to be expected. And when that happened, that propelled me into a life of being on the streets, because I'm the only child of my mother and father. My family, they didn't take me in or anything like that when my mother passed. So I ended up in, runaway homes, group homes, and things of that nature, until I was able to make 18 years old and go out and maneuver and do things on my own. As an 18-year-old, learning the world, doing different odd jobs and just, trying to live a life that didn't involve me being broke, me being broke and poor, and, having negative things, negative people, places, and things around me. So that was the first thing that, not I say the first thing, but that's the beginning stages between the ages of 0 and 16. That was my horror story from the ages of 0 and 16. And then, travel from 16 until I'm about 30, right? It was me trying to get over and me trying to clear and heal those traumatic experiences, right? Those, all of those traumatic experiences equal to an overall journey that led me into the path of ascension.
Now, during that time, after you were, that's a pretty strong story. Wow. Wow. From 16 to 30, were you still,
lost the shit.
Oh, okay. Not seeking any
lost
of this
hell.
stuff. Okay.
From 16 to 30, I was just trial and error learning as a lost soul.
Were you into drugs, crime?
Drugs, man, following the wrong crowd, drugs, crime. Man, I tried suicide. I tried to kill myself numerous occasions, trying to do it I call it the pussy wuss way, trying to overdose, right? Trying to take too much drugs and overdose. I ain't take a gun and shoot myself in the head the guaranteed way, but I tried the wuss way, and I just wanted to be in a better place, a better space where these emotions that I was going through and didn't know how to transmute, didn't know how to translate them, didn't know how to articulate them or heal them. I just wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be over. I wanted it to be done with. And the whole time I kept saying something else has to be going on, right? I can't be going through all of these things for nothing. And that used to be like the mantra of my life, It's not all for nothing. It's something. It's a bigger picture at play. It's not all for nothing.
Okay, so something inside you knew that there was something else. You just didn't know how to get to it.
Yeah, something inside me knew that there was something greater than the struggles and problems and situations and people and places and things that I was going through in life. I was going through a lot of what one might consider hell, right? And every time I would just chalk it up to something great is going to happen for me. I'm going through this because of something great is going to happen for me. Because you can't just go through all of that negativity and you can't go through all that negativity from you and something isn't greater destined for you as an adult. Two ways that happens in life. You either go through your hell story when you're young and you grow out of it into your heaven story, or you grow in a life of heaven when you're young, and when you become an adult, it turns into hell. But we're all gonna go through both processes.
Well, hopefully, yeah. You know what? There are people that start in hell and stay in hell, and they don't have the ability for whatever reason to get out of that. And you did. What was there a moment or several moments or a period of time or a mentor or a book? What actually happened to bring you to the place that you went on this new path out of hell?
Man, I can say that particularly was overall gradual stages. Like when I say a book, I would say books, multiple different books. And when you say a person, I would say multiple different people. Situations. It was multiple different situations and multiple different books and people that slowly but surely helped me grow into the full knowledge of, okay, this is what I need to be doing. It was no one person or one thing that had a, carte blanche over, hey, I taught him this one thing, and ever since I taught him this one thing, he's made it there because, it's me, it was me. Whereas, because they got other stories where people might have met this one guru, and after they met this one guru, life completely changed, and life's been changed ever since. That wasn't my story. My story was I met a bunch of different gurus, right? And through meeting a bunch of different gurus, I was able to take the parts of their mastery and their ascensions and the good parts and bits and pieces and apply them slowly but surely to my system to the system of my life. And with that, I was able to build a well-effective machine that, a well-effective spiritual machine that allowed me to ascend into this level of Zen, this level of being able to access the spiritual, access the physical. When you accessing the physical, you got to realize you're accessing the physical because of spiritual means, meaning we're not purely here for just physical live and die means. We have to know that we're here for a deeper, invisible undertone, right? In the science world, it says the world that runs this world is the particles, the atoms, the quarks, and the cells and the molecules. All of these things are microscopic concepts, microscopic sciences, meaning you can't see them with your naked eye, but you know that they rule your world. I don't have to tell you that cells and molecules and atoms are the reason why that microphone is in. I don't have to tell you that, these things are the things that make up your carbon world, right? You just have a faith and know that, hey, cells, molecules, and atoms, they make up the world, right? Well, same thing with the spirit world. You can consider these cells, these particles, these quarks, these atoms, this energy, this life force, and all of these terms you give for the invisible. You can basically blame them for what's going on in the physical. So if you want to really truly control the physical, truly get a handle on the physical world, you must report to them. Report to who? Report to the atoms, report to the quarks, the molecules, and the cells are all of the things that are microscopic that you can't see with your naked eye in order so that you can produce the vision that you actually see in your mind, right? And so nobody actually realizes things. We're taught these things in church, but we're only taught a piece of them, right? We're taught these things in a certain theology or a certain philosophy, but we're only taught pieces and bits. And that's what I found out about life. Every single religion, every single doctrine, every single science has a piece and a bit of information. A byte, that's data. Every single piece is data for the puzzle. And you must take those pieces of the puzzle and orchestrate a full picture for your life. The pieces of the dots that I connected to orchestrate a full picture for my life is going to be different from the dots that you connect to orchestrate a picture for your overall picture for your life.
That was amazing. Thank you. That was great. I'm like, I just listened to a sermon. That was fantastic.
Well, I am a reverend.
No, I know. You're the you got a lot of names. Hip Hop Jesus is one of your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Let me ask you this. I know that you you do yoga and you've invented your own. You've created, let's say created your own type of yoga. What was the first yoga class that you took? How did you?
I've never taken a yoga class a day in my life.
Really?
I didn't even know when I created my yoga. I didn't even know I was creating yoga. Let's get that clear. I didn't know I was creating a yoga until it was time for me to get licensed and trademarked and incorporated to my corporation. And it was time to get licensed and trademarked, and I had to find out what I do falls under. And it's like, oh no, that's yoga. And so I didn't even know I was creating my own yoga.
Wait a minute, man. That's crazy. Wait, in a good way. I'm not saying it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes, it's very crazy.
Were you doing like different positions for the body and breathing and those things? Or
no,
what? Explain what you do then.
So one day, let me give you a story. One day I'm in a jail cell. Locked up. I'm in a jail cell. It's 2008. Going into 2009, Obama,
and how old are you at that point?
Crisis.
How old are you at that point?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you at that time?
If I was born in 1982 and I was 18 in 2000, and in 2008 I was 26.
Okay, young man.
26.
Okay, all right.
Young man, 26 years old. I'm about 26 years old, and I'm there's this book in the prison, in the garbage can in the dormitory. There's this book sitting on top of a garbage can. There's a pile of garbage in the garbage can already, but there's a book sitting on top of the pile of garbage that's piled in the garbage can. The name of this book It's called We're All Doing Time. It's about the Yoga Ashram Prison Project, right? And I said, what's the odds of a book being on top of the garbage can place like this? Let me grab this and see what's in it. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, was I surprised. So many dots connected for me because I grew up in the Christian church, and I was always taught that this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes into the Father but through him, right? And you're always taught to shine the light, and you're always taught to be the light. It's all about light, right? And so I picked this book up, and I read about these invisible lights that live inside of our body called chakras. The word chakra translated is a wheel of light, or a circle of light, or a sphere of light. So there are these circles of light, or these spheres of light that dwell within inside our body. This book is telling me at the time and they're called chakras, and they're along your spinal cord, right? And they got other little chakras that answer to the major chakras all throughout your body. And these are basically the batteries that power your body and animate your body, right? And I'm like, if what he's saying in this book is true, I should be able to prove him right. There's no way if what he's saying is true that I shouldn't be able to physically feel these batteries. If the chakras are real, like he say, I should be able to physically feel my heart chakra at the point where this person says my heart chakra is at. I'm supposed to physically feel my root chakra and all of the different chakras at the points where this person says they're at. And so that's one thing. And I said, I've always been a person of a great imagination. I've always been the only child. And the thing that entertained me the most was my ability to imagine. So I go in my brain, I'm laying in my bed, and I'm saying, okay, if these things are real, show me you're real, right? And I'm trying all type of stuff. I'm like saying, turn on, chakras turn on, and chakras this, and if you're alive, then speak to me. Like, I'm trying to talk to the chakras as if they're another guy, like I'm trying to pray to Jesus or something, right? And so, this inner still voice is like, telling me like the chakras are you. You are the chakras. You can't call out to them as if they're separate from you. And so I said, well, if they're me, then I should be able to just tell me to turn on. So I was trying all kinds of different phrases, and then I finally landed on a golden phrase, and that golden phrase was activate. Well, activate. And I started feeling these little buzzes and these little tinglings, and I started feeling these little warmths and these little presences within the different areas and aspects of my body. And so I said, well, let me take it further and let me orchestrate it and organize it. And that's when I said, okay, I went to my root chakra, and let me feel where my root chakra is at. And I talked to my root chakra. Hey, root chakra, if you're real, if you're there, if you're alive, and you are an aspect of me and you are truly me, then activate. Turn on and let me know you're real. And by golly, I felt my root chakra. And so on did with the other chakras until I started creating a meditation for myself to feel the chakras. Now, once I felt them and it was like, oh, chakras activated, and I felt them all over my body, I thought I was holier than thou. I'm like, oh, shucks, I got it. I cracked the codes to the universe. I am master of the universe. I am He-Man. I did it that one time in 2000. I did it that one time in 2008, 2009, and I only did it on occasion. I never did it just repetitively. I only did it one time, that time, and then I think I did it another time in like 2012. But I never really fully grasped it until 2015. So I learned I discovered it and I learned it in 2008 and 2009, but I didn't fully turn it into a working principle, a working system, and a working factor for my life until 2015. But I never knew about yoga until that book. I didn't even know what yoga was. I thought, I was like the average Christian thought that yoga was of the devil. And somebody said, how yoga of the devil when the Bible tells you to meditate? I'm like, show me that. Like, oh, shucks, the Bible does say meditate. All right. And so all of these things that I thought that the Bible was against, the Bible was actually for them. I thought somebody told me crystals, and crystals, that's of the devil. And then somebody showed me that, no, well, if crystals are the devil, then why Solomon and David wore crystals in their breastplates on their armor and things of that nature? And the Bible explains it. So like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I've been reading the Bible wrong. So I had to go all the way back to the drawing board and read the Bible from front to back, cover to cover, now that I've discovered the chakras and discovered these lights inside of me. And so I implore everybody, man, that, you know, this was a gradual thing that happened. It wasn't no overnight thing that happened. It was certain pieces of the puzzle came in places at certain times. And I feel like every book that you read and every piece of knowledge that you learn is basically a piece of the puzzle that will connect the dots to your overall bigger picture. No one book, no one person, no one thing is going to get you there. It's everything combined that's going to get you there. Every single person that ever did you wrong, every single person that ever did you right, every single person that ever taught you right or taught you wrong, every single person that life that you ever changed, every single person that ever changed your life, all of it put together equals a full life experience. Do not shun any one knowledge. Do not compartmentalize any knowledge. Learn everything, because everything that you learn will equal into a whole full teaching and what you need to know for your life experience.
You know, that reminds me of a story I read once where there was a bunch of, I guess it was like a Buddhist monastery, and there was they were all meditating and up in the mountains, and everything was great. And there was a master there, whatever. But there was one guy in the group that was not sharing, not pulling his weight, was very difficult, basically just, a really unpleasant person. And a bunch of the monks went to the head guy and they said, if we can get rid of this guy, then we're going to be good. We'll have the perfect place. And he goes, oh, no. That's the best teacher we have here. He stays. And that's kind of what you're talking about. It's like, as much as I don't like, being around negative experiences or really, difficult people, if I'm okay around those things, then I know I'm okay. If I can be okay in those situations, like, then there's some core of me that's eternal in some way that isn't affected, but is able to learn from those situations. Can I have compassion for people that are difficult, people that are troublesome, that are, even outright abusive and mean?
There's a saying that hurt people hurt people.
I love that one.
Person that's going around,
person
that's gone around hurting people, trust me, they've been hurt quite a bit, and they don't know how to get past the hurt. So therefore, the only thing they know how to do is pass the hurt on. A person that a person that is a heartbreaker, trust me, they've had their heart broken one too many times. That's why they're out here breaking hearts. Any person that's out here doing something that is ultimately detrimental to themselves, usually they're doing that because something horrible has happened to them, and they don't know how to transmute. They don't know how to transform that horror into a hero story. A lot of people don't know how to take their horror story and turn it into a hero story. But if you look at all hero stories, from Spider-Man to Superman to all of the superhero stories, they all have this horrible tragedy that turned them into a superhero. Superman, his whole planet gets destroyed, and he's sent off to these foster parents on Earth, and he's tasked to live amongst a whole bunch of people who he's the only one on the planet that has his powers, and that's his goal in life. That's his mission in life, to learn how to cope with being a Superman amongst a whole world of humans, right?
That's why those stories are so universal. There's something about them that speaks to people inside of them, that they know that there's value to those stories, overcoming something to find something better. I was interviewing another guy on this podcast. He said something interesting. He was in a situation similar to what you're talking about, where you were at. And he said, I was laying on the floor of my apartment, and I could barely make the rent, and I didn't have enough to eat, and no furniture. And he said, I was laying there going, you know what? No one's coming to rescue me. It's not going to happen. No one's coming.
Right.
I'm going to have to do it myself. And that was a moment that his life started to change, where
Right.
he realized, okay, the rescue is me. I have to do it. You know, it's, and I think people that have, you know, yours is a very strong example of that. But I think each person, when they realize that there isn't anyone coming to rescue, even if you come from a place where you're being given lots of things and opportunities and all that, it's still inside. No one can crawl in there and do it for you. There has to be a point, I believe, that where you realize that it is dependent on yourself, where you have to go, what is that light inside of me, that energy, that universal force that I can tap into and make that the center of my life. So no matter where I go, I'm okay. I'm comfortable. I'm at ease. I know who I am, despite what's going on around me. And I think that's the kind of thing you're trying to teach to the people that work with you.
Yeah, that's what this place is. This place is, so I don't know if you know it or not, but this is 3.5 acres. It's 30 minutes away from Dallas Airport. It is called the Garden of Eden Eco Village. And it's even though it's 30 minutes away from the airport, it's in the middle of nowhere. And this is where the CDPP takes place. And what is the CDPP? The CDPP is the Chakra Doctor's Positive Penitentiary, where when you come here, and my students come here, they come here for a 7-day retreat. And that 7-day retreat is a 7-day unplugging from the world, meaning no phone, not your normal diet. Your diet is going to change. You ain't going to have no phone. You're going to be doing FCA yoga around the clock. You're going to be doing 7 major things. And this will literally not only change your life forever, but guarantee you, propel you into the level of success and wealth, because success and wealth are taught behaviors. And as long as you can learn, you can be successful and wealthy. If you truly want to be something great in life, you're going to have to go through your cocoon, that cocoon stage, where you're by yourself, with yourself, of yourself, learning and teaching yourself the secrets and mysteries of life, appreciating yourself in your studies, appreciating all of the things that you went through to even make it to that moment or this moment. A lot of the times we don't realize that it was that shitty girlfriend that made you a better man. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes, you know, that divorce you had with your wife, that was a learning lesson so that you can be a better husband for your next wife, or not get married at all and be a wonderful partner for your next partner, right? So I always tell people, and I show people that that's what my tragedies have taught me. Tom, nobody in a million years, you couldn't have ever told me that that I would be healing people with natural medicine, that I would be healing people with FCA yoga and activating their chakras, that I would be motivating and coaching people, that I would be a full-time health and wellness brand. If you would have told me that when I was eating steaks and French fries and po' boy sandwiches and gumbo, I would have told you were crazy. I'm never giving this up, right? And now I'm a raw vegan. I have an intracellular detox cleansing regimen. I have an affirmation Bible train your brain program. I have an e-commerce brand. I have an esoteric money program. I have all of these different tools, right, that I give people. And if you'd have told me that at 26 that I would be doing all of these things, I would have told you, man, you crazy. I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to go rap, make me some music. I'm going to be like Jay-Z or some fucking body. But little to known to my consciousness, I did not anticipate for the universe to have her own plan and thrust me into her own direction that will force me into making the greatest decision that I ever made in my life.
Who is coming to your retreats? And what I'm actually getting at is, are you reaching out and I'll bet you are, to people that were in similar circumstances to what you were in when you were young?
The people that come to my retreats are what I would like to say people who want to perfect the invisible part of life. And so I've had everybody in here from teachers to nurses, doctors, you name it. People who just couldn't keep, people who just might have had all kind of physical successes, but they wanted to gain spiritual, mental, and emotional successes as well. And the spiritual, mental, and emotional successes, that's the hard part for us to gain. We can go out and build a train, planes, buses, we can build the world, but when it comes to expressing our emotions to our child, hard, right? When it comes to telling our spouse how we truly feel, hard. When it comes to telling someone no because they don't deserve your energy, it's hard. But we can go build a skyscraper. We can tell you how to build, this car and things of that nature. But when it comes to the human being the ultimate vehicle and being the ultimate skyscraper, being the ultimate car and vessel, we don't know how to articulate it. And so that's where I come in at, teaching people how to articulate their emotions, but through trainings, not through lectures and just talking, but through actual physical trainings that shows you what your flaws are versus how you're going to correct them.
How do people find you and your retreats and all the information that you have available?
Just Google Chakra Doctor, CHAKRA, one word, and then Doctor, DOCTOR. You can Google Chakra Doctor and all types of stuff will pop up, Bobby, but specifically my website and my phone number will pop up. My phone number is 818-429-1675, and my website is chakradoctor.org. And you can find me on Instagram, ChakraDoctor_. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, Chakra Doctor TV. Follow me on Facebook, Chakra Doctor anywhere. Put Chakra Doctor anywhere in the major platforms, and I will have you'll be able to get to me.
You are highly accessible.
Yes, the spirit is willing, and the spirit is the will. And we're supposed to make spiritual things highly accessible for people, The world has got a lot of things that we can do if we focus on that and make it our reality. And you certainly have done that in a big way at the Eco Village. And I hope it looks like really remote as I'm looking at your background. It looks like it's it's really remote. It's really remote. This is just a little piece of the background.
Yeah.
I got it. I bought it in this condition, but I'm going to revamp it. And this is just a piece of the background. It's 3.5 acres of land, and
sounds
real
great.
Beautiful, and it's real beautiful, and it's real calming, and it's 30 minutes away from Dallas Airport, so you still can get modern day fixings while still being in a nature setting.
Well, I love the idea of not having any media and phones and all that distraction. It's an interesting thing. I don't know why it always surprises me, but if I leave my home and I've forgotten my phone, I feel something is wrong. Like I got to go back and get that thing.
It actually makes you feel naked. Like I'm naked without my phone.
Oh yeah. It's like almost frightening. Like I'm missing a part of me. So people who don't think we're blending with computers, we are. Just that feeling.
And I actually teach people that life is a game, and your telephone is the controller that you play the game with.
Okay, it's kind of true.
Life is a Nintendo game. Life is a PlayStation game, and your telephone is the PlayStation controller that you play it with. That's why you got to unplug. You got to learn how to unplug, man. You got to learn how to unplug. What would happen to an electronic appliance or any kind of electrical or any kind of mechanism that stay plugged in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Eventually, it's going to burn out, and
right. It's not lasting. It's temporary. Yeah,
it's not going to last long at all. So we have to learn how to unplug, learn how to turn the TV off, learn how to unplug from the phone, learn how to disconnect from the modern world so that we can connect into the true world, which is the spiritual world that governs the modern world. It is the metaphysical that governs the physical, not the other way around.
That is a beautiful way to end our talk today, because it's a great message. Thank you
sir.
so much for talking to me. This, my friends,
thank you so much for having me on.
Rance Dunbar, the Chakra Doctor. Look him up. You'll find him. He's everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, you'll find me, man. Just Google Chakra Doctor. I am Googleable.
He's Googleable, and he's in Texas. Either way, go to Dallas and start driving.
I'm loving Texas more and more by the minute. I'm a child of New Orleans, so I'm loving Texas more and more by the minute. I'm so glad I'm here. Got this opportunity to be in a Lone Star State to give the masses these different mechanisms of spiritual and physical, emotional, and basically mental ascension. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day. I love talking to you. It was great. Thank you. Big thanks to you folks for listening in to The Exploding Human. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Please check out my website, theexplodinghuman.com. The YouTube channel, The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman, and The Exploding Human Facebook page. Big thanks to Rance Dunbar, the Chakra Doctor. Please check him out. He's easy to find. He's all over the place on the internet. And you folks have a fantastic day.